All right, Shalom. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, the great millstone who does lead and rule well. Salutations to all you hopeful elect Akim pushing out this word in sincerity and in truth at the four corners of the earth. And sincere shalom also to all you Akim and Akwaf listening and learning, preparing yourselves here in these last days. And to the entire household of faith, fighting this good fight of faith, I want to say shalom. This is your brother Dequar from the DC camp. Come back into another lesson. And I'm not sure what I'm going to title this one, but somewhere along the lines of we told you so. We told you that these things was happening, and we may sound like a broken record, but we're warning you of these things to come so that you can be prepared. We sounding the alarm as it is our job to do. So recently in the news, you had this what they calling it oh snap, it just erased the section 2.13 isolation and quarantine procedures, and I'm gonna let you listen to a couple of videos, get a couple of articles and a couple of scriptures, man, and make it real quick, but just to let you know what's going on. But these things was prophesied. These things are going to happen. What Jake is saying, check this out.
Powers that they just gave the governor of New York. Just check this out. It'll blow your mind.
It allows the Department of Health to pick and choose which New Yorkers they can lock up or lock down without any proof that you're sick, without any proof you've been exposed to a communicable disease. There's no time limit, so they could lock you up or lock you down for days or weeks or months. There's no location restrictions. They can put you in any facility they want. They can either lock you down in your house or they can remove you from your house with the force of police and put you into a facility, detention center, whatever you want to call it, that they choose. You would have no say. And then once you're locked up or you're locked down, there's no procedure in this regulation that says how you get out of quarantine once you're in there.
This is real. A federal court empowered New York State Governor Kathy Hochul with this power.
Yep, that's one. Check this one. Give me a second.
The government, New York City.
I'm not sure what just happened here.
New York City. Rule 2.13 isolation and quarantine procedures. Published November 22nd, 2023. Let's talk about it, New York. The government now has legal authority to remove residents from their homes and force them into quarantine camps. There is no age restriction. Children could be removed from their homes without parental consent. They do not need to warn citizens when they are coming or how long they must be quarantined. You will be required to take any tests, any steps the state mandates, including taking medications against your will. There is no due process, no court hearing, no none of that. They can do what they want. This is what's going on while we sitting up here online talking about these celebrities, talking about P. Diddy and all this stuff that's going on with Cassie. You got men and women, you got all these women on here telling men what's feminine about what they doing, talking about, oh, men wear jewelry, that's feminine. Why are men complaining about going 50-50 in a relationship? This is the type of stuff that's going on while we're being distracted by bullshit. Because none of that stuff is important. The so-called black man and black woman, when are y'all going to get it? We're being played. We're being used, manipulated.
Jake used so-called, so he listening.
Okay, they're using us against each other. How y'all don't get this? I don't get it. How y'all don't get this? It's frustrating to come on here. I'm scrolling, chilling. This is what's going on. They can come in our cribs at will.
So Jake just venting right now.
Ate something that would harm us and make us sick. We didn't wear hoodie.
Now, I got one more by these Edomites.
This is a provision now of New York State.
Why the heck do I keep doing that?
This is a provision now of New York State law that has been
And just put a disclaimer out there, man. This is just for educational purposes. We're not making money off of this thing. It's just to put out information. This is the Dark Horse podcast right here, man.
Stated a panel of judges had struck it down, and I believe in this last week it has been reinstated by the Supreme Court of New York.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to show you, that this thing was actually this is news10.com. Court reverses previous ruling on New York State's isolation and quarantine procedures. This came out November the 21st. Okay. A court decision that deemed New York State isolation and quarantine procedures unconstitutional has been reversed. You see that? Because at one point, they had this thing out and then it was deemed unconstitutional, but then they strike the unconstitutional thing down. You know? A measure that took effect during the pandemic gave the Commissioner of Health the power to direct local health authorities to issue isolation and quarantine orders to control the spread of highly communicable diseases. Now, as we said, previously, they're using this health thing to be able to change, your rights, because they doing it in the name of the greater good for all the people. But you seen when they even did this, who they was targeting, man. It says, little did we know that the legislation has been circumvented and the governor had put it in as a public health law. You see that? And that's how they're going to do it, man. That's how they're going to do most of this stuff, which I'm going to show you something else. It says, look at it. Teague, two other Republican lawmakers and an organization called Uniting NYS filed a lawsuit against the governor, the New York State Department of Health, and New York's Attorney General, saying it overstepped the separations of power. It says, we filed a suit, went to court, and we won. And they won. But it got reversed still because E is up to something, man. They got a plan. Okay? I'm going to get a couple scriptures, but it says the court in July of 2022 decided the isolation and quarantine law was unconstitutional. However, the case was appealed and a judge recently reinstated it, saying those who brought the case didn't meet the qualifications to bring the case forward under state law. Esau going to do what E want to do, and guess what? Because the Lord planned for him to do this, man. So Jake can think, and all you people out here, you can think that, this is unconstitutional, it's never going to happen. Hey, the Lord is going to make it happen, man. And these devils got in their heart to make this thing happen. The court document stated the legislative petitioners failed to fulfill the injury in fact requirement to establish standing. We have no standing in the case. We're all residents of the state of New York, and we're all affected by a rule like this. Now, guess what? If they could do it in New York, which we call spiritual Jerusalem, it's going to happen everywhere, man. Just like I said, what's happening down there in the Gaza Strip, which they cutting off water, they cutting off the internet. If that can happen there, it can happen here, man. So these things Jake should be paying attention to. They don't comment on ongoing litigation. And that's the end of that. But let me get this a little bit. See what the Edomites talking about.
And what it
so
applies
just for
to.
people who are just listening.
Yeah.
Section 2.13, isolation and quarantine procedures, State of New York, effective April 22nd, 2022. It was struck down on November 17th of this year, so a couple weeks ago, or a week and a half ago. It was reinstated. So the strike down was struck down.
The strike down was struck down on a basis that we will get to here in a second. But let's begin reading this thing so people know what we're talking about. So 2.13, isolation and quarantine procedures. A, duty to issue isolation and quarantine orders. A1, whenever appropriate to control the spread of a highly contagious communicable disease, the state commissioner of health may issue and or may direct the local health authority to issue isolation and or quarantine orders consistent with the due process of law to all such persons as the state commissioner of health shall determine appropriate. So we will continue here in a moment. But I just want to point out, let's steel man their position here. So this is a set of quarantine procedures that they are laying.
Let me show you this too, because it said any type of infectious disease, right? Now we seen in the news recently. Come on, son. Mystery vid-like virus in China could be deadly, Victorian disease experts say. So this came out December 6th. Look at the time, 11:44. You know, another respiratory disease, man. So hey, keep in mind. You remember how it struck in 2020, 2021, right? Oh, let me go back.
Out. And these are things necessary to control highly contagious communicable diseases. So these are frightening things. They are nothing
That's Satan.
to sneeze at. They are things as dangerous potentially as the common cold, which meets that definition. I just want to point out. Highly contagious communicable disease. So what they want you to do here, I'm now no longer steel manning. What they want you to do here is mistake them for being extremely concerned about very dangerous diseases, when the provision that they have laid out here isn't about very dangerous diseases. It could certainly include them, but it also does include these very same powers, even to control the common cold. Now, I find that telling. I think that they have actually telegraphed their desire to use these control mechanisms by not actually saying anything about dangerous diseases. And I would point out that the way that you would do that, if you were actually serious about controlling dangerous diseases, now mind you, none of these things, these provisions would be justified, even in the case of dangerous diseases for reasons that we can get to. But the conflation in the public mind, just the same way you saw the public was confused by lots of talk of antibodies because the public knows what an antibody is, but it doesn't really know what a T cell is. This is also the same thing. By saying highly contagious, that sounds very frightening. What you want to look for is virulent. That's the term that says that something is destructive. Highly contagious just means it passes easily from one person to another, which is true of the common cold, which you certainly would.
Which I'm not going, but again, this is E's trickery, man. This is the look. They're very, very deceptive. He was more cunning than any beast of the field. Okay, and this is why they use particular languages. And they pushing their law ultimately to fulfill their agendas, man. You see, now, look at this. All in the name of safety, public safety. This December 6th, CNN now floating the idea of carbon passports to limit travel in order to save the planet. Like, where's this? How are they just floating this idea around, man? It's time to limit how often we can travel abroad. Carbon passports may be the answer. And look, the Business Insider, could carbon passport that limit how much we travel be in our future? You got to see what's going on here, man. Pre-pandemic levels. You got to look. If you can't see what's going on by now, man, I don't know what to tell you. This is Revelation 2 verse 10. It says, fear none of these things. Salah. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Okay? Now, that 10 days, they could just grab you up whenever. You see, they are coming up with these laws, and now they deeming it unconstitutional, or you just don't have the means to deem it unconstitutional. Yeah? And, but this is what's going to happen, man. It's all about control. Because this man, it says what? But it said, be thou faithful unto death, man. And the Lord shall give thee the crown of life. But this is the person that we dealing with. You see? Habakkuk 2, and 15. It says, yeah, also, well, I'm gonna start at 4. Behold, this is Habakkuk 2 and 4, not 2 and 15. 2 and 4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Yea, also, because he transgressive by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathers from to him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. Okay? And so this is what he's doing, man. You know? He's not satisfied that he got the whole world in his hands. You know? He wants your soul. But this is what's going to happen, man, because the Lord put it in his spirit to bring this about. This is 2 Corinthians 15, verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Yeah, because this is why you're going to have the people going up against their governments. And this is also why you see all these constant shooting so they can disarm you before they do these different things. You know? It says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Yeah, because they're going to see that the people, their kings or their government is not for them. It says, and a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right. And see, all of these things go in hand with what we already told you, man. You know? It was another scripture. No, it was another, yeah. Look at this thing that they just popped up out of nowhere with. Let me see if I can get this for you. It was a commercial that you just see. Like, what? Let me see if I can get it on here. I have to pull it up on YouTube. How do you get to? Here we go.
Are you guys telling secrets? Mine is that Honey Nut Cheerios.
Again, this is just for educational purposes only. This is the Honey Nut Cheerios commercial. It was secrets with Leslie David and Baker and Phyllis Smith. Check this out.
Cheerios can help lower cholesterol.
That's not a secret. It's on the box.
Wow.
Oh, I have a secret. I invented the microchip.
Is she serious?
The night.
What was the purpose? What was the reason for that? You see? What was funny about it? They just throwing it out there because they gradually introducing these things to you, man. And they already showed you what it was going to be like during the 2020 era. Now, whether you was that sick or not, you had to comply, man. And it all goes back to this, man. You know? And if you don't do these things, then you will be excommunicated. You will not be able to function in society. All right? Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So that no man might buy or sell, this is how they're going to control you. You're not going to be able to do certain things if you don't take these things. But they're up to something. Oh, snap. They're up to something, man. And, you know, we out here putting out the warning again, man. But like I said, be thou faithful unto death, man. And the Lord shall give you a crown of life. The Lord is going to be the one to fight for you. If you're in there for whatever period of time, the Lord is going to be the one to get you out of that, man. You know? So with that, Lord willing, it was edifying. To the next lesson, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. Till the next one, I want to say Shalom.